This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Welcome back to the Roger Stone Show. Our listeners know my ethnic heritage. I am half Hungarian and half Italian. I like to say I'm Italian from the waist down. Before the end of the show, we're going to have my family recipe for the greatest veal parmigiana you've ever had. But before that, I want to welcome our next guest. He is the founder of MyPatriotCigars.com, which has been and is a loyal advertiser here on the Roger Stone Show. We call him the right-wing cigar czar. Welcome to the show, Alan Jacoby.
Roger, always a pleasure. Thank you.
I am delighted to have you with us because you're a man who always says what's on his mind. We were talking about Steve Bannon and his appearance on the show of that reprobate. Let's play this little bite if we could. Bill Maher and Steve Bannon.
Here it is, the Constitution. Can I read a passage to you? Amendment 22. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's... Maybe you should have this. Here,
I'll get you to sign it backstage and underline it. Look,
will.
President Trump didn't bring up running for a third term. Myself and others brought up running for a third term. President Trump is going to run for a third term, and President Trump is going to be elected again on the afternoon of January 20th of 2029. He's going to be president of the United States.
Okay, but the thing I just read in there, it seemed like there was no wriggle room there. It seemed like it was just, 8 or 10 words it said only 2 times.
We have a team of people that are
working.
A team.
How can a team do something about that? What? I don't care if the team is 12 trillion people. The words are still the words.
Bill, every day in federal courts, right now in federal courts, there's 120 lawsuits on what President Trump's doing for his Article 2 rights on the unified executive theory. But he's chief executive, he's commander-in-chief, and he's chief magistrate and chief law enforcement officer. There's 100, and they're running to court every day to sue President Trump, all because the interpretation of this. The interpretation of this is open for interpretation.
How could it be open? Could I have it back? How could it? I'm sorry.
This is an absurd commentary. Now, I don't know who wrote Bill Maher's routine. I've been on his show. I actually did the initial pilot for Politically Incorrect. I've been on his show multiple times. I can tell you without a platoon of comedy writers, the man is adult. He's vaguely amusing. He's actually quite annoying. But in this particular case, he's right. I mean, the U.S. Constitution is absolutely clear. No person can be elected for more than 2 years. And unfortunately, that includes even our great current president. In fact, the Constitution goes so far as to say that if a person ends up filling the term of another president, as, say, Lyndon Johnson filled the term of John F. Kennedy, if they did so for more than 2 years, they could only run for one more term. Johnson did so for less, and therefore he was able to run in 64 and would have been eligible to run in 68, but he dropped out. So what is Steve talking about here? Now, there is a theory that the party could nominate J.D. Vance for president and Donald Trump for vice president, and then Vance could resign and Trump could rise to the presidency. If J.D. Vance were elected president, why would he want to resign? I mean, look, I love the idea in concept, but I think Steve Bannon is trolling us, and it's disappointing. Alan, what do you think?
Well, Roger, you did say I like to say what's on my mind. I believe Bill Maher called you the white assassin. Didn't he call you that?
Albino assassin, yeah.
Albino assassin, that's right. I remember that. So Steve Bannon, listen, I refer to him as Sloppy Steve, MAGA's favorite government witness, okay? There are factions of MAGA that fawn all over him because he has them fooled. Steve Bannon is the ultimate con man. He is the ultimate grifter. I despise him more so because of what he's done to the movement and what he's done to you. I mean, he turns government witness on the great Roger Stone and testified against you on behalf of the government, all based on lies. So that one right there should be a red flag for everybody. The Bill Maher podcast show, whatever it was with Bannon, was I had to do everything I could to not throw up all over myself. Steve Bannon with this third term with Donald Trump. Listen, I'm for it. I'm all for it, but it's not reality. And the problem with Steve Bannon is he drives MAGA into this place that's not based in reality. They refer to him, and not all of them. Listen, I'm MAGA, but there are people that consider him this architect of MAGA, the godfather of MAGA, and that's all horse crap. Steve Bannon is a con man. He's a rat. He's a Jeffrey Epstein sympathizer. I mean, the man was a consultant for him for a 60 Minutes interview back in 2016, visiting him in his Manhattan mansion and in Paris, the Manhattan mansion where all of this debauchery with young underage girls happened. All right. So when I hear Steve Bannon, I hear Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, it's all there, and he's there. I think that this gets me really hyped up, Roger. So I got to slow down a minute. Steve Bannon, they started that show, War Room Pandemic, based off chaos, COVID, right? That's what the War Room Steve Bannon label is about. Complete and utter chaos, black pilling, and things like Donald Trump running for a third term, this base of almost like taking over everything. You know what that does, in my opinion, and I'm not a political strategist like you, it hurts the Republican Party. We have very important midterms approaching very quickly. And if we do not retain the House of Representatives, Donald Trump's presidency is over. He's a lame duck. And then they get to spend the next 2 years in impeachment hearings, okay, and nothing gets done. The American industrial renaissance stops. American greatness stops. Everything stops. And I think Bannon and people like his minions want that to happen because their business model is making money on the black pill chaos of government. Because if all the good guys keep winning and all the good guys are in charge, Steve Bannon and his cronies aren't making any money. So, again, Bill Maher, clown, comedian, Steve Bannon, the ultimate con man. And I'm sorry, but the build the wall thing that he raised money for, Roger, he pleaded not guilty, but so did two others involved in that. And they received 4 and 3 years in prison and having to make restitution of millions and millions of dollars. And one guy was convicted, this guy Timothy Shea. He spent 5+ years in prison because he kept $180,000. Why wasn't Steve Bannon put in jail for that? He, after pleading guilty, but the other 3 had prison sentences. What else is he cooperating on or lying to cooperate on to save his own behind? You know, I could go on and on.
You know, the incident you refer to is Steve Bannon testified on January 16, 2018, in front of the same House Intelligence Committee that I did. He was asked point blank by Adam Schiff, did you ever discuss WikiLeaks, Russians collusion, WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, or these allegedly stolen emails with Roger Stone? He said, no, never. And Adam Schiff said, on no occasion. He said, no, on no occasion. Then, to my surprise, Robert Mueller, surprise witness at my trial, who swept into the courtroom dressed all in black, I looked like a fat Johnny Cash, wouldn't look me in the eye, asked the exact same question. Did you ever talk to Roger Stone about WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, or these allegedly stolen emails? Bannon said, oh, yes. Stone brought them up in every conversation we had in 2016. As Jonathan Turley, professor at George Washington Law School, after reviewing both transcripts, Turley said, Bannon has 2 diametrically opposed sworn statements in a high-profile controversy with dozens of attorneys in attendance. This is what he told the New York Post. The transcripts indicates that my lawyers were aware of the inconsistencies, but in fact, this case was about whether I had lied under oath, which of course I hadn't, because to lie under oath, your misstatement has to be material, has to be willful, and it would have to be material. There was no Russian collusion. There was no WikiLeaks collaboration, but I was shocked to learn that Steve Bannon was contradicting his own testimony before the same body that I had testified. And only the New York Post covered this, and it got no other coverage. So, yeah, I don't try to split the movement, but I do think it is strange that his co-conspirators got long jail terms, but Steve Bannon was involved in the embezzlement of $15 million from a nonprofit, yet when he pled not guilty, he received no jail time at all. Deeply, deeply concerning and questionable. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to one of the advertisers and sponsors of this show, My Patriot Cigars. You find them at mypatriotcigars.com. I want to thank you, Alan, for your loyal advertising and sponsorship here on the Roger Stone Show. When we get back, we're going to talk about that Epstein connection, because I think many, many people would find that shocking. You're listening to the Roger Stone Show here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We're talking to the right-wing cigar czar, the right-wing cigar king, Alan Jacoby from My Patriot Cigars, and we'll be right back.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Your gut affects everything, even your mood. So Ollie created 2 brand new products to take care of your insides. Ollie Big 10 Probiotic has 10 strains of probiotics, their most ever, to support a healthy gut microbiome, immune system, and stress response. And Ollie Super Good Superfoods delivers 15 superfoods in tasty gummy form. Find them at Ollie.com and exclusively at Walmart. Ollie! These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy, red bumps start on my arm, then my back. Sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
Once again, folks, before the end of the show, I'm going to reveal my mother's, that means my grandmother's, recipe for veal Parmesan. So get your pen and paper ready. Before the end of the show, we're going to lay it out for you. In the meantime, we're talking to one of our valued advertisers here on the Roger Stone Show. Alan Jacoby is the founder of MyPatriotCigars.com. He's a man who knows a good cigar, and he has a pungent political point of view as well as a Trump loyalist. A lot of people don't realize, but the New York Post reported that after Jeffrey Epstein had pled guilty to sex crimes in Florida, that Steve Bannon visited him in his palatial New York residence, also visited his apartment in Paris. They co-produced a documentary which has never seen the light of day. I find this very odd, and then even stranger, recently at the Conservative Political Action Conference, out of nowhere when they did a 2028 straw poll, J.D. Vance was understandably the first choice of most of the conference attendees, but then out of the blue, Steve Bannon is the second choice for president. Now, he has one distinction. He has now, for 4 years in a row, been on my international worst dressed list. The man is the progenitor of hobo chic. He looks to me like he chases down homeless people or dumpster dives for his wardrobe, and I don't understand his adversity to hot water and soap. It's a very, very strange thing. I mean, look, I'm a great believer in free speech, but I don't know the difference between, one major difference between he and I is that, well, I bathe. Alan, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, listen, the man, again, he's a con. And the whole Epstein connection, a lot of these people from Bannon's base, the War Room Posse, whatever they call themselves, they're all on social media screaming about the Epstein files. Maybe they should be screaming about their, I don't know, whatever they look at Steve Bannon as, and question him about his connection to Epstein. And that after the 2016 presidential election, after he was thrown out of the White House, why he was visiting with Epstein in New York, trying to rehabilitate this child rapist, because he was already a convicted pedophile by then, and he was literally trying to rehabilitate Jeffrey Epstein's public image to for media with CBS. He told Jeffrey Epstein to look directly into the camera now and then, don't share his racist theories on black people. Why was Steve Bannon coaching and consulting convicted child rapist and pedophile, registered sex offender at the time, Jeffrey Epstein? People need to start asking Steve Bannon that, why he was hanging around the Manhattan mansion. I'm sorry, but it's nobody wants to talk about it.
Look, I have to say I was very deeply disappointed that Steve Bannon betrayed me. I thought we had a decent relationship, but I believe the prosecutors knowingly suborned perjury by Steve Bannon, and I have no idea what deal he may have been trying to make for himself, for immunity, or some non-prosecution. It's interesting that Jonathan Turley, the respected law professor at George Washington University, said that the comparisons to the Flynn prosecution in my case were striking. The investigators did not believe that Mike Flynn lied to the FBI. However, he was charged with false statements. A lawyer at the time for Steve Bannon said that his client misunderstood the question. I'm not sure how that's possible, because they asked him the exact same question. When he was asked before the House Intelligence Committee under oath whether he had ever discussed WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, or these allegedly stolen emails, he said, no, never. And when he was asked the exact same question on the stand at my trial, he not only did he say that I spoke to him in every conversation we had in 2016, but he said that he considered me the campaign's point man with WikiLeaks, which was news to me, since I never had any contact with WikiLeaks other than the very strange direct message on Twitter exchange, which is entirely innocuous, which I myself made public, and which took place 3 months before WikiLeaks, 3 months after WikiLeaks had already published their emails from the Clinton campaign and the DNC. So in other words, unless I had a time machine, involvement in that conspiracy would have been completely impossible. I don't know what game he's playing here, talking about Trump running for a third term. I would love to see more of the Trump presidency, but I don't see it's possible. All right, we've got to wrap this up. I want to thank our advertiser and my friend, Alan Jacoby at mypatriotcigars.com for joining us today. Alan, thank you, and God bless you.
Roger, thank you. Take care.